Liam Jones was just 23 years old, a bright, thoughtful student from Dundee, Scotland, studying social work. He had a gentle heart, a quiet smile, and a deep desire to help people. Those who knew him described him as steady, compassionate, and deeply committed to the people he loved, especially his young wife, Sophia. The two were still newlyweds, riding the waves of young love with excitement for the life ahead of them. In March 2024, Liam joined his family aboard the MSC Euribia cruise ship. The voyage was meant to be a celebration for his mother's birthday, a week-long escape through northern Europe, departing from Southampton and heading to Hamburg. It was supposed to be peaceful, joyful, a time to reconnect. The ship, sleek and towering, sailed off into the gray-blue horizon, with laughter echoing on the decks and families toasting to milestones. No one had any reason to believe that tragedy was about to strike. Just 24 hours into the journey, Liam sent a brief message to Sophia. He mentioned he was feeling seasick. Nothing alarming, just an ordinary check-in from a young man adjusting to the ocean's sway. Sophia replied, expecting to hear back shortly, but Liam never responded. Then, without warning, Sophia received another message, not from Liam, but from his sister. The words hit like a punch to the chest. "He's not coming back, Sophia." Those 5 words shattered her world. Panic set in immediately. Sophia tried calling Liam, texting, reaching anyone she could. But there was only silence. Hours passed, then days. The cruise continued on its scheduled path, while Sophia sat helplessly ashore, waiting for a call that never came. When the ship finally returned to Southampton on March 21st, investigators boarded. They questioned passengers, reviewed what surveillance footage they could, and launched a formal missing person inquiry. But there were no signs of Liam, no witnesses, no conclusive evidence that he had jumped or fallen, no body, nothing but questions, and a young wife left in a devastating limbo. MSC Cruises issued a statement expressing their sadness, saying they were cooperating with authorities. But that was little comfort, because Liam wasn't just another missing passenger. He was the 6th person to go overboard from an MSC cruise ship within a span of just 4 months. Let that sink in. 6 individuals from various ships in the MSC fleet: the Seascape, Harmonia, Preziosa, World Europa, and now the Euribia. Each case echoed the same vague phrasing: investigating, no further comment at this time, deeply saddened. But when stacked together, these incidents stop sounding like coincidences and start to feel like a pattern. How does a healthy young man vanish off a modern cruise ship without a trace? These vessels are floating cities, equipped with high-end surveillance systems, multiple decks, staff in every corridor, and cameras almost everywhere. So, how is it that not a single piece of footage, not a single definitive answer has been shared? Sophia, just 20 years old, has been left to make sense of this impossible nightmare. One minute she was planning their future, where they'd live, whether they'd get a dog, when they'd start a family. The next, she was scrolling through old voice notes, clinging to echoes of the man she loved. And she's not alone. Families of the other 5 missing passengers are also in the dark. Some received more attention than others. A few made headlines for a day or two, only to be forgotten by the news cycle. Others were quietly swept away, metaphorically and perhaps literally, by the tide of cruise ship PR and public indifference. But make no mistake, these disappearances are not just unfortunate blips. They're red flags waving in the wind. The cruise industry, particularly at this scale, is notoriously underregulated when it comes to reporting overboard incidents. Only a small handful of cruise lines are required to publicly disclose missing person cases. Most don't. That means that when someone like Liam vanishes, the cruise line doesn't necessarily have to alert the media. They don't have to show the footage. They don't even have to inform other passengers unless forced. And as long as people keep buying tickets and the headlines don't stick, the system stays exactly as it is. So, where does that leave Sophia? Where does that leave Liam's family? In pain, in limbo, and in search of justice. They're not just grieving a loss, they're fighting a system. They're demanding transparency, answers, and reforms. Because they know what too many people don't, that something isn't right, that young men don't just vanish mid-ocean with no evidence, no explanation, and no closure. That seasick should never be the last word a loved one sends before becoming a ghost on the water. Liam Jones had dreams. He had people who adored him. He had a life ahead of him, and it was stolen, not just by whatever happened on that ship, but by the silence that followed, the unanswered questions, the cold bureaucracy, the quiet brushing under the rug of yet another missing person. Sophia hasn't stopped searching. She's kept Liam's memory alive in the only way she knows how, by refusing to be silent. She wants accountability. She wants to know what really happened on March 16th. And she's not alone in that demand, because this isn't just about one man. It's about every person who's vanished on a cruise ship, and every family who's been told, "We're sorry, but we don't have any answers." We should all be asking, how many more? How many more people have to vanish before the industry is forced to change? Before cameras cover all decks? Before every disappearance is treated not as an unfortunate accident, but as a potential crime? Liam's story should shake us. It should stay with us. And it should be shared, not just for him, but for every soul lost at sea without justice. He deserves that much. And so does Sophia.